Hello and welcome to my second Pink Hair Girl podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. For those that watched last time and gave me such wonderful feedback, thank you very much. I am surprised how much I enjoyed the podcasting. I spent all week thinking about what to do next and what to say and all the rest. Now, I wasn't really sure that I was going to do it weekly, and I'm still not sure that I'll absolutely always get to do it every week. But I just knew I had so much to say that I had really enjoyed it so much that I wanted to do one again this weekend. So the Geek has taken the pinklets out and I have some time to spend with you and to just have a chat. So thank you for anybody that's returning. Huge welcome to anybody that's watching for the first time. Please come and say hello on the Ravelry group. Let me know what you thought, and it'd be really nice to meet you. I've got my cup of tea. I hope you've got some tea or coffee, and my cute little mug cozy that my daughter Rachel made for me. Talking about tea, before we get on to the nitty-gritty of what I'm doing and what I'm making, I am doing the Whole 30 next month with my sister. She's running the Comrades Ultramarathon on the 1st of June. And then after that, I think on the 9th, she said I had to give her a few days to recover and drink wine. And then after that, on the 9th, we're going to do the Whole 30. It's basically 30 days of just eating whole foods. I've already cut out coffee, which you can read about on my blog. It was not a pleasant experience, and I really love coffee. But I'm trying to fix some health issues, and so I cut out coffee. But for the Whole 30, I have to cut out milk. I've got to cut out dairy for 30 days, which I'm a bit nervous about because I really do like my rooibos tea with a bit of milk. And so I'm looking for suggestions of what kind of teas or warm beverages are nice to have without milk. I'm thinking maybe of like the Twinings or one of those sort of fruit teas, maybe something like that. I don't like green tea. I've tried to like green tea. I know it's really good for you, but I've tried leaving the bag in longer or leaving it in shorter, or I can't like it. So even the have 1 cup of green tea a day and it's really good for you, I just don't end up doing it. I'll end up falling back. Oh, my absolute favorite is to have a cup of coffee, honestly, with sugar and milk. But I've cut that out. And now I'll just have rooibos tea. And the easy part of rooibos tea is I don't have sugar, so I don't have to worry about cutting that out. But now I have to cut out the milk. And somehow rooibos tea with no milk is just a bit boring. I don't think I can drink it all day. And I really like to have a warm beverage. So if you've got some ideas about some brilliant teas or something that I should try, please let me know in the comments or on the Ravelry group or something. Thanks, that'll be really great. Okay, let's move on to what I'm working on. I'm not going to share too much about the book this time. I'm going to share a story about the Geek and I'll tell you about why he's called the Geek. And then mostly just kind of showing you my projects, my work, in a couple of things I've finished, and then my work in progress. Yeah, I'm afraid I have a dirty little secret. I'm one of those. I know there are others. I know it's not just me that has lots and lots of work in progress. Yeah, I remember being, when I was still nursing, I'm a palliative care nurse by trade, and when we were doing this team building exercise and we had to fill in this questionnaire, I think it's called Belkin or Balbin or something like that. It's a team personality assessment, like what role do you play in the team. And I remember the one is called a completer finisher. And I just instinctively knew that that was not me. I have craft projects that I started years ago. I mean, the one that I'm trying to finish now is a quilt that I started, I think, for my sister's 16th or 18th birthday, and she's now in her 30s. And I finally thought it's beautiful. It's got little yellows and greens and browns and stuff. And I actually thought Rachel would love it. Rachel loves yellow, my daughter. And I thought I'd finish it for her. And so I've been trying to work on that. And I keep putting it down. Sewing, to me, sewing is not as social because you can't really sew and talk to other people. And it's in my sewing room at the back, and I've got all the stuff back there. It's not kind of like knitting where you can just sit and knit with people that are there. And you can't watch TV, and you can't really listen to a podcast while you sew. I don't know, what do people do? Those that like sewing, and I know there are those people that like sewing. When do you sew, and how do you fit it in? I mean, it's not portable. Like, I can take the knitting with me, and or crochet, and I can sit at the kids' activities and stuff. Yeah, I just find my sewing room's also at the back, and I suppose it just feels a bit lonely and isolating, and either the kids all have to come in there with me during the day and then cause chaos and fiddle with everything, or I have to do it at night, and then that kind of feels like the time that I often spend with the geek, and at least I can knit while we watch TV or something like that. So yes, I have lots of craft projects that I never finished. And so I remember hearing this complete a finisher and just knowing that that's not me. I think I was like the ideas person, the person that always comes up with new ideas and thinks out of the box and can sometimes have a lot of crazy ideas. And that's why I said last week, when I say I've had an idea, the geek kind of cringes. Because I think he just knows how many of these ideas I have. Yeah, so I've got a lot of work in progresses. I have an idea and I start something, and then I often don't land up finishing it, or change halfway, or something like that. Are you a completer finisher? Do you have lots of work in progress, or do you have just sort of one thing that you like working on? I mean, I know some people like to have, for example, like an easy sock knitting project, and they've always got socks on the needle, and then say a bigger project or something like that. I have a ridiculous number of project bags. I love project bags. I don't think you ever have too many project bags. And they're all filled with something. So I am going to show you a few things that I have finished and a few things that I have as work in progress this time. And as I say, tell you a story about the geek and I. So I'll start with, I can't show you the Geek Socks, and I did finish them on time for his birthday. Well, technically, 9:30 at night on his birthday, that still counts. Yeah, right? I did try and finish them the day before, so they'd be ready on his birthday, and I was so tired that I had a toe, like one toe to finish, and I was just so tired that I think it took me like an hour to knit 2 or 3 rows, and so I gave it up. And then during the day we were so busy getting everything ready and getting the stuff for his birthday that I only really got to knit on his birthday again. And so I finished them that night while we were watching TV. And I kept joking with him, and I said, well, what time was he born? And it was 8 o'clock in the evening or something. So well, if I had them finished by 8 o'clock in the evening, then it still counted. But yeah, 9:30. But he loves them, and he has been wearing them, and he is wearing them. I don't think he's worn them solidly, because I get into on Tuesday night, so I don't think he's worn them solidly Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I can't guarantee that though. I don't know. I hope not. But in a way, I suppose that shows he really likes them. But anyway, I did finish them, and he's got those. And then I've just this week, the only other thing I've knitted is some boot toppers. A friend of mine, Tanya, asked me to knit her some boot toppers. So like the top of your boot sort of comes to there, and then this sort of sticks out the top. This is just a very simple feather and fan pattern. So there's those two. You can see those. And then this is just a grey one with some little yarn overs. If you can see them. Yeah. And then I've got one more to do for her, which are on the needles at the moment, on my really way too long cable needle. So this is the pattern, if you can see there. So, and as I said, the needle is way too long. I've been knitting with Knit Pros, but because I've got so many work in progress, often I land up with the wrong cable. This is like a ridiculously long cable I got for doing bigger shawls with, but my other cables are otherwise occupied, so I'm finding it a bit tedious, the kind of weaving the really long cable through. And I think I'm finding it even more tedious because I know in the cupboard is waiting a beautiful set of higher needles for my birthday on Monday. My mom brought them back from England, and my mom and my sisters are giving me these needles for my birthday. And the geek won't let me have them until Monday. And so I'm knitting with these, knowing that there are beautiful needles waiting for me in the cupboard for Monday. Is anyone else knitted with Higher Higher? I know my friend Claire knits with them and really, really likes them. And I think Cece as well from Java Pearl from the Geeky Girl Knits podcast. I think she was saying that she also tried out some Higher Highers. So yes, I'm so looking forward to trying those and not having to knit a small project on a ridiculously long cable needle. So those are kind of what I'm working on, those little boot toppers. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about my crochet journey and a few other things that I'd finished, because I spoke a lot about knitting last time and not really about crochet at all. Now, I never learned to crochet. My mom doesn't crochet, neither does my gran, so it was just not something that I picked up or ever did. And I just kind of promptly put myself in the box of I don't crochet, don't know how to, it's just really not in my skill repertoire. And then my friend Heidi Bears brought out the most amazing patterns, and I'm sure you know them. If you're on Ravelry, you've seen them. They're just beautiful, the most beautiful little crocheted animals, all made from these motifs. And so I decided to learn to crochet, and she's got an excellent tutorial on her blog that shows you literally like step by step where you put the needle and how to go through and how to do. And suddenly I was transported straight back to being a frustrated 6-year-old and not being able to read knitting. It was the same with crochet. There I was, and I felt just like that 6-year-old that wants to hurl the knitting across the room. Here I was being 36 and wanting to hurl the crochet across the room because I was so frustrated with it. And my first attempts were dismal. I mean, they were like graunched up and too tight, because I think because I'm trying so hard to get it right, I crocheted really tightly and it was all bent, and yeah, but I stuck with it. I mean, I don't think I'm brilliant, and it still takes me at least like 30-40 minutes to finish, you know, one motif. And but yeah, so I did the hippopotamus for Titus's birthday, and he was a work in progress for quite a long time. I think I got up to his neck, and then I realized I just needed to get on with doing some of my design work, and I put him down for a while. And Titus used to wander around with just the bum, and he loved it, and he would say, "Mommy, it's hippopotamus got no head." And so for his 3rd birthday in February, I finished the head, and he loves it. He really does. And it's such a great feeling when you make something for someone that really appreciates it. My children are definitely knit worthy and crochet worthy. So he got the little hippopotamus for his birthday, and I will put the pictures up of when he opened it and how cute his little face was when he got that for his birthday. And then I made the rhino for Rachel. She cut her hair and donated it for cancer. She has the most beautiful strawberry blonde hair, the same color as I had as a child. And people literally stop her in the street and ask her about her hair. And so she decided to cut it and donate it for cancer. And she also raised the money. She wanted somebody to be able to have it without it costing a lot of money, because, you know, the real hair wigs can cost a lot. And she said if she donated her hair, was it still very expensive? Were real hair wigs still very expensive? And so we found out from the place that we donated her hair to how much it costs to actually make the wig, what's the wig making costs. And so they said it was between 2,000 to 3,000 rand. So she set about raising the money, and she raised 4,693 rand, I think. And so there's a link on my blog, and there's her before and after pictures and all the money. And when we handed her hair over, we went to the Cancer Association, we handed it over and stuff. So I finished the rhino as a gift for her bravery for donating her hair. And she loves it. Again, she was just so thrilled and carries it around and loves it and hugs it and stuff. So those are my crochet finished objects, and that's all I can crochet. I know people think that they look amazing, but that is really all I can do. I can follow Heidi Bear's African flower pattern and make the motif, and that's it. And I don't even do the join as you go. I know that she has, I haven't even watched the tutorial. I sort of read it in the pattern notes and felt a bit intimidated by it. And a lot of people that have done the join as you go say that it's so much easier than it looks. Have any of you tried it? Like new crocheters, those that have been crocheting like for a year or less. Anyone else actually tried the join as you go? Is it easy? I don't know. I still just do them and sew them up. I don't find it that bad to sort of sew it up. It didn't feel that much. And I'm making one for Caleb, my middle son, and he's getting a Pegasus. And so his are, he wanted it all white and with blue wings and a blue tail. I think he'd see a picture somewhere, but I managed to convince him to have a bit of color because I thought it would be a bit boring to crochet all the motifs in just white. So I made it mostly white, and I've just kind of put a bit of blue or a bit of green in them. So he's going to get a Pegasus. He wants, I think Heidi's pattern is for the horse, and then she's got the things that you can add either to make it a unicorn, a rocking horse, or the wings if you want to make it into the Pegasus. So that's what he's getting. So those are, and then I'm doing some for my nephew. I'm going to make him the I think it's called Puff the Magic Stegosaurus, but I'll link to all of the different patterns of Heidi's in the show notes. I joined her 1 a day crochet motifs challenge for this year, and so it's just to basically crochet one of them every day, and it helps because before you know it, you've got 30-40 motifs done and you can start putting it all together. I got a little bit behind when I was finishing the Geek's birthday socks and the shawl for Yvette's mom, so mine is kind of a 2 a day challenge at the moment until I'm caught up. But it's quite, yeah, I still take quite long on doing them. I know Heidi said she can do a motif in about 10 or 15 minutes, whereas I think I'm still on like 30-40 minutes at least to finish a motif. So yeah, I've got the Puff the Magic Stegosaurus in progress, and I've got the little horse. I think the horse is mostly done. I think I've got a couple more motifs to do for that, and then I need to start sewing that together. And his birthday is on the 8th of June, so I need to get going with that. Right, all my other work in progress is what I want to show you. There was one here that this is one of Heidi's earlier patterns. It was a knitted elephant, and it is ridiculously cute. I'm going to link it as well in the show notes. But you have to keep your wits about you. I mean, she does so much detail that the actual little trunk even curls perfectly, and there's short rows and there's clever increases, and it is exceptionally good pattern. But you have to concentrate quite a lot with it. You have to keep your, where you are in the rows and what you're increasing and stuff all the time. She's made it so that it's pretty seamless. There are very few seams that you have to do. But because I need to concentrate so much, I'm finding, I mean, look, it's not that much, but I'm just finding that it's not an easily portable pattern. I've got to take the whole pattern that I printed out with me, or keep on checking on my phone or tablet or whatever to see where I am in the pattern. And so I'm not really able to watch TV or take it when I'm out with the kids at sports practice or stuff like that. So I'm not knitting on it as much. And then also I just got busy with the design stuff for the book, and I put it aside. Excuse me, I'm still a bit sick. I've had this nasty cold, and I'm feeling heaps better, and I've just got this really stupid cough left. Anyway, so I really don't know if I should finish the knitted elephant, and just find the time to do that, or if I should rather use this purple. I mean, it's such a lovely purple. It was by Nurturing Fibers. If I should use this purple rather and do the little African flower elephant, because that would be a lot easier because I know how to do the just crochet motifs now. And if I did this maybe with another pink or a grey or something to make it sort of girly. I've got my sister had a baby in March, and so I thought I could make her the little elephant. The little Stegosaurus is going to be for her brother, and then I thought I could make her the little elephant, but I'm undecided. Yeah, so that's kind of been a work in progress for a while because I just really haven't got to knit on that as much. And then, before I tell you about that one, let me tell you, we see lots of project bags, all these unfinished objects. This one, I also need a bit of advice. This is from my son's hero pattern, And there are some of you that know the story. I finished the My Son's Hero. The yarn was dyed by Crochet from Nurturing Fibers, and the yarn was called, it didn't have the brown in it, sorry, the original one, that's what I've got left, was called The Little Dutch Boy. It was after the story of the little boy that puts his finger in the dike to save his town. So it was kind of like to celebrate little boys, really. And so I had done it, instead of making something for one of the boys, I selfishly decided to make a shawl for a mom of boys, you know, celebrating the sometimes that moms sometimes need a bit of superpower. You need to pull your superhero cape around you and just, so this is my superhero knitting cape. And it's just a long garter stitch knitted sideways, sort of squishy shawl that you could pull around you. And it's got a sort of a zigzag simple lace pattern on the edge. I'll link to the pattern in the show notes. And I finished it, and we went to the beach and we took the photographs of it. And I don't know if it was that same day or very shortly after that. Fortunately, we'd taken the photographs. It was on the couch, and I mean, it must have been my fault. I left scissors lying around, and yeah, you know, the inevitable. My not quite yet 2-year-old then cut my shawl. I was gutted, absolutely gutted. And I must admit, I think it took all my mother's superpowers not to want to kill him at that point. But I mean, it wasn't his fault. He was 2 and it felt fun to cut with scissors, and so he'd cut the starting edge, and I'd started on this side. So when I pulled it out, I actually had to revert, you know, I had to, instead of just knit, I had to purl back to get the same garter stitch effect. So I finished that, and then he'd cut quite a few holes. Fortunately, he hadn't cut it in the body some, it was just on this end, and he'd cut quite a few holes in the lace. So I had to, the lace, we pulled all the lace out. Carla helped me, and we pulled all the lace out, and so it was all in little balls. And I thought that I had some more in my stash of this brown. You'll see that it matches. Let me just find a part that I can show you quite nicely. You can see on that edge there that matches really nicely with that one over there. So I really wanted to use the same color because it just matched the edge so well. The problem being that a lot of the ends weren't actually long enough because they were cut rows. So you can see I've got loads of ends to weave in. But those aren't the worst. Some of them, sorry, this is the wrong side now I'm showing you. Some of them ended mid-row. So you'll see like here, I've got these ends. And here again, lots of little ends that end in the middle of the rows, and yeah, look here. So I've got to weave all of these in, and it's kind of, I mean, I can, it's sort of harder to weave it in and lace not to see it, or for the ends not to be poking out all the time. I mean, normally you can hide, you know, your cast on and cast off edge quite quickly, but this just seems like a lot of ends. So I haven't, I mean, Titus is now 3.5, and he wasn't even 2 at that point. And I love this shawl. This is the thing. I mean, it's so, you know, you can really put it around you. It's such a wonderful squishy shawl. So my options are just to weave in all those ends. The other one I wanted to say, I've got this color, which is a darker brown. I don't know if you can see that. I'm contemplating pulling out this lace that's got all these ends, and rather just doing it in the darker brown. I mean, it's not such a big contrast, but it's not exactly the same. What do you think? Let me know. Let me know if you think I should just bite the bullet and put it out, or just weave in all those ends. I don't know. So yeah, it's again been one of those that I've sort of stalled on. I stalled for ages in starting to redo that lace on the edge, or even pulling back the body part and fixing that, because I was just gutted. But you know, distance, sometimes what you need when a project hasn't gone right, or something's happened to it, or you need to figure out, is distance. Because if you've just, it's like time between when you finished it. If you've just finished it, it's so fresh in your memory how much time you just spent on it. Whereas if you give it a while, it kind of seems less painful to rip it out later. You sort of forgot exactly how much effort it took. I mean, I ripped out, this was not really a work in progress because it's now just a ball of yarn, but it was 2 at a time socks. and somehow I've got a Swift and a ball winder, and somehow the two are not enjoying working together really well. So it keeps winding my ball and either pulling the yarn over the top of the ball or under the bottom. It's not keeping it properly in the cake. If anyone's got any tips on how to fix that, please let me know. So it's not the two aren't working well. So somehow the yarn got tangled up, and when I was working two at a time, it got into such a mess. It was just, I tried many times to fix it, and it didn't. And I put them in the cupboard, and I mean, they were nearly finished. They were like, I'd done an afterthought heel, and I was past the afterthought heel part. I'll put some pictures up. I took some pictures before I frogged it all. But again, I needed to put some distance between the time that I frogged these, and I think I'm going to knit a knit night with these, actually. I don't think I'm going to knit socks. I decided to only knit socks with nylon because I've now rehealed too many socks. I wear through my socks. How long do your socks last? Let me know. I'm going to do a whole episode on socks next time, and I've got a really nice prize next time for people who've been asking me about socks, especially South Africans, where to get the stuff. There's not that many yarn shops here, and there's certainly not that many that sell real wool, that don't just sell acrylic. And the needles, most yarn shops here, the smaller ones, will sell acrylic, and they'll sell the straight needles. There are very few that will sell the circular needles. And so I just want to I'll do a blog post a little bit in the next podcast about socks and where to get some of the stuff here in South Africa. And so tell me what you think about heels. Like, what is a nice strong heel that lasts? Because the afterthought heel doesn't seem to last very long. It's easy to replace, that's one bonus. But anyway, I've now decided I'm only going to knit with nylon. But I've got a really nice prize. Even if you're a beginner, it's awesome because it'll start you out on sock knitting. And if you're not, it's great too, because I mean, who can't use more sock yarn and needles and patterns? So stay tuned next time and I'll tell you about that. I was going to do it this time, but I want to actually have the prizes to show you because I think that'll be really exciting. So this was also work in progress, ripped out. And my other one that I'm busy frogging is, it was the first time I tried, and sometimes designing doesn't work out. I think I've landed up frogging a lot more since starting designing than I ever did before, because before, when you're following somebody else's pattern, you can just fudge it. If you make a mistake, if I miss a yarn over, I pick it up on the next row, or I hate frogging, I really do. And so I will normally, if I think to myself, will I notice it later, will it bother me? And then I decide, put it down for a while and decide and come back to it. But anyway, I was doing this with infinity cowl, and I had done it, and it just landed up way too long in this bamboo. And I'd done it at sort of full length. When I redid it, when I tried it out a second time, I'd used a slightly thicker bamboo, and then I knitted it lengthways, sort of the shorter rows in the length, and then it worked a lot better. But so I want to do another one in a slightly different pattern, but I'll show you the full strays when I tell you all about that in the episode for the full strays. But this one, I've decided finally to frog it, and this one has been sitting in the cupboard for ages and ages. So I finally decided to frog it and just do something else with it. Now this was the project that I promised to tell you the story about, the Geek and I. So I think I'll first start by telling you why he's called the Geek. Now the Geek has a fairly difficult name to pronounce if you read it. It's almost impossible to know how to say it by just reading it. And because I blogged for a long time and was online and things like that, it seemed a bit ridiculous to refer to him by his name because you can't say it, and it leads to much confusion about what he's actually called. And so he's geeky by nature. He does programming and is into all sorts of technology and geeky stuff. And so we were kind of nicknamed Pinky and the Geek. I don't know if you remember that TV program Pinky and the Brain. I remember watching it as a kid. Anyway, so we were like nicknamed Pinky and the Geek. And we even played Pinky and the Brain intro music. I found it was just the music, not the words, just the intro music when we walked down the aisle when we got married. So yeah, we called Pinky and the Geek, and mostly because people can't say his name. So his name is Immer, but it's an old Dutch name, and it's spelled Y-M-E. So people end up saying why me or Yime, or yeah, it comes out with, I don't want to say nobody ever has pronounced it correctly by reading it. That would be a bit silly. Maybe somebody has. But I think very few people have ever pronounced his name correctly by reading it. When he got his degree last year, when I went to his graduation ceremony again, it was just, yeah. I can't even remember what the guy called it. It was one of those variations. And you don't blame someone. If you look at the name, when I first saw it, I didn't know how to say it. And I'm still not sure I say it perfectly. Yeah, so that's why he's called the Geek, and you'll probably hear me refer to him mostly as the Geek. So the Geek and I met on Twitter, and yeah, kind of strange, people meeting on strange what social media has done, and this whole sort of way of making the world so much smaller. I mean, even Ravelry, you think of the people that you meet and that you just never meet otherwise. So we met on Twitter, and I was in Pretoria and he was in Cape Town, and I came down to Cape Town, and we met here and really hit it off, and I came and did a trip with the children where we kind of went up the coast a bit, and then I sort of impulsively decided to move 2 children down to Cape Town, and that was about 4 years ago. And yeah, that's how the Geek and I got together. And because he was kind of thrown in the middle of having 2 kids already, and life was busy and hectic, and no one's ever got enough money to get married, we spoke about it a lot. But he likes everything to be perfect, likes to plan things and for them to be like really. So I just knew that it was never going to feel right to him, like the perfect time to get married, because he was always going to worry about money or not being able to do it perfectly or whatever. So impulsively again, on the 29th of February, I decided to propose to him. The leap year, this was the leap year proposal. And quite a few people on the Nurturing Fibers group will know this story because they sort of followed along. And Carly of Nurturing Fibers decided to dye some yarn in purple called What a Girl Wants on that day, because like the day that you can propose to me. No, you can propose to me any day you like, but it was just a bit of playing into the cliche of it and sort of having a bit of fun with it. So she dyed this yarn in purple called What a Girl Wants, and it's this really, really pretty self-stripe in purple. Kind of goes from a blue purple to a sort of a more reddish purple. And she was going to put it up like on a random, first come first serve me please basis on Ravelry that night. And I was going to be proposing to the Geek at the time, so she very kindly kept one ball of yarn for me. And then one of the other ladies on the thread, while I was out at the proposal, actually wanted a sweater quantity and had a me please for I think 4 balls of it. And then later somebody said, oh, it wouldn't be so nice to knit something out of the yarn as a kind of a reminder of the proposal and the fun we'd all had on the group with it. And I think we thought about a shawl, and then I said, oh, wouldn't it be nice to do a cardigan? And I didn't have enough yarn, obviously, with 1 ball of yarn. And I don't know if she wants me to share her name, so I'll just leave it. Gifted me, before Carla had posted to her in America, all of her 4 balls of What a Girl Wants. And I've always, since then, it didn't go with the dress, and the wedding was in summer, so it wasn't ever going to work to be a wedding cardigan, but she wants me to keep the yarn. And so I've always wanted to make a cardigan to remember that day, the day that I went to propose to him. And so I started the Arcane sweater, which has got this lace design around the bottom, which kind of goes around the back and around the bottom, and then I think it comes up the 2 sides of the cardigan. But then I got busy with designing and I didn't get back to what I don't like though was the it's a provisional cast on, and then you knit one row, I think you knit a purl row on the knit side, just to give you that ridge to fold over, and then you fold over and then you catch the stitch as you knit the next one to fold down that provisional cast on. But I find mine makes a little bit of a line. Can you see it there? I'm not sure if you can see it. It like makes a little bit of a fold there. I don't know if that's a problem. I don't know if I like it. I don't know. So I haven't gotten any further. And as you can see again, you see a cable, took the needles off, and this has been sitting hibernating for a bit. So I don't know if I want to carry on with this sweater, or if I want to actually change that and maybe make it a different, I don't know. But anyway, so that's how I got this yarn. But let me finish telling the story about the proposal, you see. So because we met on Twitter, what I did was I got, I think it was 4 or 5 friends of mine, and to help me with the proposal. We did it on Twitter. So I pinged him just beforehand, and someone I said, watch your Twitter stream, because sometimes when he's at work he doesn't watch, and I timed it to be at the end of the day. And Carly watched my 2 older kids, and my now brother-in-law watched the baby, and so I dropped the ball, but I was so nervous. And it was planned that exactly, I don't know if it was 4 o'clock or quarter, I mean, he ends work at 4:30. So it was planned that they would each tweet one word, you see. So it started, then the first person tweeted Pinky, just Pinky. And the next person tweeted once, and then 2, no. So Pinky wants 2, no. And then will, and then I had, no, will you, and then I had marry me. I tweeted that last. So everybody tweeted, and I was like, wait for the other person to tweet it. Like they'd seen it was in his Twitter stream, and then like begged him so they timed properly one after each other. And it timed perfectly. Because it looked a bit funny if the words were in the wrong order or whatever. But I'll show you, we took a photo, a screenshot of it as it came in on his Twitter stream. It came in like one after the other. So it's like, Pinky wants to know, will you? And then I tweet, marry me. And then I was outside his office, and I just sent him a text message just to say that I was outside. Yeah, so it was kind of like our geeky way of doing a proposal. And then I planned to meet my friend Catherine, who's a photographer, on the beach. And so we did a photo shoot on the beach like that evening straight away, and then we went to dinner. I'll put some links to those and the pictures that she took and everything in the blog in the show notes. So yeah, that's what this cardigan is. I really like to finish it because the story behind the yarn is so special, and it was such a great gift that I got given, and Carla, the fun that they had that night, and everybody watching the Twitter stream, and what did he say, and it was quite exciting. So I really want to do something special there, but I don't know if I like that bottom. It's been sitting for a while now, so I think I either need to start it again, or I've queued a lot of sweater patterns at the moment. Anybody got some ideas about what would look really nice with this? It's a self stripe, but it's got quite long, slow changes, gradual changes. So I thought, because the sleeves are obviously much smaller diameter, so your changes are going to be much longer, I've thought of through the body to actually knit with 2 balls at the same time to lengthen each strap. So the straps between the body and the sleeve look a bit more balanced. My other thought with this yarn is maybe to do more like a sleeveless cardigan or pullover type thing, maybe with a sort of yoke neck or something, just with a couple of buttons in the front. Yeah, undecided again. It seems to be a trend. When I'm undecided, I seem to not kind of finish these things. Yeah, so those are sort of my work in progress. It's not everything. I've got a baobab cardigan, which a baobab baby pullover, which is part of the patterns for the book. But that one is the baby size, and then a lot of people requested a slightly bigger size, and the tree needed to be scaled up because it needs to be proportionate to the, so I scaled up the tree and knitted it all, and then decided the one branch on the one side didn't balance. It was much too thin. It looked fine on the baby jersey, but on the bigger one for the toddlers and for the kids, it didn't look right. So I frothed it and started again. And now I've actually decided that the baby cardigan, I finished the tree cable in the front, and then split off for the sleeves, because there isn't that much space between where they split off for the sleeves and the neck starts. But in a the bigger children's jerseys, a much bigger space, and the shoulders there's a lot of space, and the trees seem to be floating much more on the bottom part of the pullover. So I'm gonna have to frog it again. So that's a work in progress. And then I've got that's in my yarn box somewhere, so I haven't actually got that one with me. And then I've got 3 gloves that I've done for I don't want to show you because I'll show you when I tell you the stories about those gloves. I've got 3 sets of fingerless mittens that I'm doing for the book. Because I was fairly impatient and I thought I was doing really well in completive finishing. Is that a word? Is that a word? Made up? Yeah. Okay. Completive finishing the mittens for the book. You know, it's kind of like I'm doing my book and I'm getting done and I'm getting my patterns done. And I only needed 1 pattern essentially to photograph to show people what to do for the test knits and stuff. And I know ideally for the book, I really need to photograph both mittens. But I have 3 sets of mittens with 1 mitten knitted up. And I know that if I can get away with having only 1 mitten in the book, that I might be naughty and not knit the other ones. Which is stupid because, I mean, they're there. They're not functional as 1 mitten. I must just do them. Actually, I lied because Rachel's one, she's got a little pair of yellow ones. I've knitted the full mitten and done the picture on it. And the second one, I've knitted them. It just needs a thumb and a bit of Swiss darning, duplicate stitch on the hand. That's it. I just should finish them. So I really must do those mittens. So I've got quite a lot of work in progress. I just seem to collect lots of things to knit and finish, and then if it doesn't quite go to plan, or if I get new yarn or something, I'll end up wanting to play with something else quite quickly. And I've got all these things to finish, and I'm going to cast on socks this afternoon because I really like having socks to knit. Are you like that? Do you have lots and lots of projects on the go? I hope there are others like me, and I'm not the only one that's got so many. I know there are some like monogamous knitters that just knit one thing at a time, and I should try and, if you're like me with loads of projects, or if you finish things, it's really interesting because that's a nice thing about knitting. You know, people can knit so many different things in different ways, different projects and all the rest. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks so much for joining me again. I've really had fun revealing my rather ridiculous amount of works in progress. And this, actually, the secret isn't everything. There are a few that have been hibernating really for so long that they're just a bit embarrassing. So I've just kind of pretended they don't exist. Yeah, so thanks so much for joining. I'll put a lot of links in the show notes to things that I was talking about. If you want to find me on Ravelry, I'm Pink Hair Girl on Ravelry, Pink Hair Girl on Twitter, Pink Hair Girl Knits on Instagram, and I'll put the links up to all of these places where you can find me. Come and say hi on the Ravelry group. Let me know what you thought of today's episode, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks so much for joining.